So why you might not want to skip Odette. So Odette, she's a cryo off-fielder, a skill bot and E-bot that enables stellar reaction for everyone, scaling off attack. Now before I fully explain it, let's talk about her pros and cons. The biggest pro is that she enables free-to-play teams for you right now if you have Mizuki. And that's basically the only standard character that's going to be meta for now. It's a pretty easy team to build and play. And although that we know that Mizuki is probably going to be like replaced by a future SNES 9 character soon, this is still the best time. If you have Odette, you basically have a standard character that could deal up to like modern level, meta level of damage. Second pro is that she just works with Cryo Traveler, so that's another free-to-play unit that you get to work for your free-to-play team. Odette provides free stellar reaction for all. She buffs stellar damage for everyone. That makes her super versatile. And the next pro is that Odette is very cost efficient to build too. All you need to level is her skill, and you can save up your resources on leveling up her basic attack and ultimate because you'll never use those. She's super easy to play as well. All you do with Odette is that you press E, and then you press E again, and then you switch to another character, and then you continue playing. That is her entire playstyle. And not only that, her skill is off-field, right? It has a super long duration. It's basically like a Cryo Farina or a Cryo Yaimiko again. Super long skill duration also means it's good for long rotation as well, which also means you have more room for error. You can make more mistakes. You're not going to lose your life for mistiming thing. So a very easy and forgiving playstyle. And because Odette never uses her ult, I mean you can use it, but it's a DPS loss because of the time it takes. When building Odette, you don't need any energy recharge at all. You just do not think about Odette ult at all. All you do is just press the skill button. That's it. Now on to the cons. A spoiler alert, it's not that much. The biggest con is that her ultimate is like a waste. It gives you like a stellar buff, but that stellar buff is only for yourself and you don't really get to use it, so it's just not good on you. And the ultimate also just takes some time and it just does pure cryo damage. It doesn't do the new stellar damage, which is really weird. So if you for some reason really like character with like good ults, then Odette is kind of the opposite of that. And I guess the other con is that you barely get to see Odette on the screen. She just press E twice. She does have some really nice animations with her second part of her E. But after that, she does a little dance and then she just leaves the team. She leaves the team with a like little dark clone of herself. It's kind of like a Black Swan reference, I guess. And the last con that's actually a con would be that Odette really only works with Stellar Team. When she's paired up with either Cryo, Electro, and Emo, she'll automatically force like Stellar Reaction on it. And outside of those three elements, as of right now, unless they add like new Stellar Reaction. So as of right now, Hydro and all the other characters that are the other elements like Hydro, Pyro, she has no synergy at all, so you just cannot play them with her. Although people do say that Odette does have like a wheelchair setup with other characters, so that could prove useful soon if you're lacking characters. But as of right now, everyone is just playing Odette with a Stellar Team. Alright, so now I will explain why you might not want to skip Odette. Now I said the word might, so don't take my theory as the complete truth yet. Okay, first reason I would say is that Odette is probably the best in slot Stellar support for most of the SNES 9 characters. As you can see, a lot of SNES 9 casts Animo, Electro, and obviously Cryo. I think Vesna, probably Animo. Nitsa might be Animo or Hydro. Metia seems to be Electro. Valerie is Electro. I don't want to spoil too much, but you'd actually get to see like Valerie like skill ability for a bit in the Archon quest. And there's probably a lot of like leaks floating around on the internet that's popping up left and right, so you can identify it yourself. And last but not least, Saritsa is obviously going to be Cryo. No, there's also some other characters, but I think those are not coming out just yet. Especially that one red hair male character, I forgot his name. I think he's probably Pyro. But my point is, there's a lot of green character and purple characters in SNES Naya. So, if you remember the previous region, if you are actively playing Genshin previously, it was Not Cry, right? So last time we had Columbina with Not Cry, and then there's new reactions. There's Lunar reactions, there's Lunar Bloom, Lunar Geo, I don't remember. Lunar Crystallize, that's what I wanted to say. And then everyone got mad at Genshin because you need all the limited 5-star to get access to all these reactions. There's no free-to-play options. It's all cope anyway. But you know, this time Genshin finally has a heart. they gave us a cryo traveler who can act with us access to all the stellar reaction. And not only that, they also gave him a free weapon that gives a lot of crit rate. And traveler at this point has a lot of buffs from all the previous elements, so he's going crazy right now. So this time, stellar reaction, slight improvement, a little bit more free to play than the previous lunar reaction. Okay, so back to Odette. I want to talk about how the Syriza and Odette, and now I want to talk about the Syriza, the Cryo Archon, and how that links to Odette. So some people have been saying that Odette is like a Cryo Columbina, right? Like a mini Columbina. And we're kind of worried that maybe she might be like power creep or replaced like very soon. Maybe even by the Syriza Cryo Archon. But if you do some thinking, if you do some researching, some brainstorming, in Genshin, usually the Archon kit is kind of similar to the Traveler kit, right? Usually just a bit more extreme, Animal Traveler has like a tornado that does grouping, and then Venti also has like a wind spinning black hole that does grouping. Geo Traveler summoned his rocks, and then Zhongli also summoned rocks. Electro Traveler, I forgot what Electro Traveler even does. I think he generates like electricity. It's something with energy regen, right? And then Raiden Shogun is also involves energy regen. And then there was Nahida with Dendro Traveler. They both do something about the Dendro reaction. They summon the Dendro plant or whatever. And then there was Hydro Traveler, which we do not talk about, but that was an exception. The Hydro Traveler was more of like Nuvolette, because in Fontaine, things are a bit different. Won't get into too much details. Won't bring up too much flashback. But it was basically kind of like the Hydro Traveler was more of like the Hydro Sovereign. And then after that, there was Pyro Traveler, which is, kind of like Mavuika, just completely different level. Pyro Traveler is really only good at fighting that one boss, while Mavuika is a god. And then Not Cry happened, and then I think we didn't get a new Traveler. They did give us like a new Traveler ability during the story quest where you're forced to play as the Hydro Traveler, but you summon the Aino ultimate for some reason. And then there's that. And now we just got access to Cryo Traveler, and Cryo Traveler seems crack. So what does Cryo Traveler do if you don't know already? He's basically doing a lot of damage. His ice is like a blast, and then you build stacks, and there's this charge attack consumes all the stellar conduct. It's basically like a stellar conduct DPS. And then his ultimate, he summons us, you already seen the animation, he summons a spear and then he throws it down, and then all the enemies get stabbed by the ice javelin and dies. So what I'm trying to say is that Syriza kit is probably not going to be exactly the same as Odette. But as of right now, we don't have much information on Syriza kit. We only know, not confirmed, but like everyone is saying that Syriza is going to be a main DPS. Usually we have a lot of support Archon, and then we have like a few DPS Archon, but like most of the DPS Archon can also be support Archon, kind of like Raiden or Mavuika. But this time the Syriza, I heard that her base at like C0, she's going to be more main DPS, and then at high constellation, she's going to have more support abilities, so they can bait you to spend even more money. But other than that, here's why I think Odette is not going to be replaced or power crapped by Syriza, and Odette might actually be a really good support for Syriza. So Syriza is the Cryo Archon, right? So she's guaranteed to be Cryo. I know that Fatui Harbingers have like a gimmick of like having a delusion and a vision. They have two vision. Tartaglia has Hydro and Electro. Senora has Cryo to Pyro. I think Wanderer used to be Electro, then he became Animo. But I think they dropped that gimmick like 10 years ago, and that's just not happening anymore. I know that Syriza also have the Gnosis of like Venti and Zhongli and all that, but I don't think the Cryo Archon is going to be pulling out Animo Geo moves anytime soon. I think there's a higher chance of Cryo Archon Elemental Burst be just summoning the entire Fatui Harbinger and killing and wombo comboing the enemies instead. But enough of that. The Syriza is guaranteed to be Cryo. Just assume that for now. And I am 99% sure that Syriza's abilities is going to involve stellar reaction. There is just no way that the Cryo Archon just deals pure normal cryo damage instead of using the new stellar reactions. That would be kind of funny, but that's probably not what they're going to do. Last time, Mavuika's kit involves heavily with like having Natlan characters and Night Soul. Columbina's abilities involves lunar reaction heavily. So Cryo Archon, we can be safe to assume that her kit is going to be all about stellar reaction. So stellar reaction, there's stellar swirl, stellar conduct, might have some future stellar reaction in the future, we don't know yet. Last time they added like lunar construct, lunar crystallize. I suggest they should bring Freeze back. Bring back the Hydro characters. Bring back the Freeze team for once. Let us have something. So back to Odette. If you remember Odette's kit, it's very simple. She basically buffs Stellar Reaction by a lot. So Odette buffing Stellar Reaction equals buffing Saritsa equals good teammates. So investing in Odette equals investing in Saritsa equals investing in having a super Cryo Archon team. So my guess is that Cryo Traveler would be like their free-to-play alternative to support the Saritsa, and then Odette will be like the more premium support. I don't want to say Odette is a must pull for Saritsa, but I would say that she's going to be meta for Saritsa. And then the other teammates is probably going to be like an Anemo or Electro character. My guess is that it's going to be an Anemo. The other teammates will be like Anemo character. It's going to be Stellar Swirl. We already have experienced Stellar Conduct with Sandrone a bit earlier. I think this time they're going to switch things up and then make Saritsa a Stellar Swirl team. I mean, she probably is going to work with all Stellar Reaction team, but I think the main team will be like a Stellar Swirl team with like one of the Anemo guards that I don't remember their name of. So my point is that Odette could be a very good character that synergizes and buffs Saritsa. Okay, so like long term, how good is Odette? Is she a very good investment for the future? Now for this question, I'm not too sure. Since we're at like the final region of Teyvat, people say that Conria is going to be next, but Snezhnaya is going to be the last like real cultural present time region that we're going to get. And I know the dev said that Genshin is going to last for 20 years, but I'm not too sure. Well, let's not look that far into the future. Odette, she's the first Snezhnaya character, right? Snezhnaya going to last for 1 year. So, you know, Odette is probably going to be good at the very least until the Saritsa release. And at most, probably throughout the entire 7.0 patch. I kind of feel like when the next region comes out, like Kynria, they're probably going to jump scare us with a brand new reaction or a brand new element, brand new team to just trick us into buying into a brand new gimmick that replaces the previous gimmick. But you know, at least with Stellar Reaction right now, you're buying in early. And not only that, the current Spiral Abyss is about Stellar Conduct as well. And the next Spiral Abyss is probably going to still involve Stellar Conduct. So your account probably needs a Stellar Conduct team. And Odette can help a lot with that. So who should pull for Odette? So other than my previous reasoning, I think one group of people that could really consider pulling for Odette would be people who don't have Sandrone or didn't pull for Sandrone, such as people like me. I didn't really pull for Sandrone, so basically didn't get to experience Stellar Conduct. Now you have Odette that enables Stellar Reaction for everyone. I think it's a good time to pull for her. And who else should pull for Odette? I guess if you're prepping for like a really optimal Saritsa team, you can do that too. You want to play Stellar Reaction with the rest of the Snezhnaya characters. Like I previously mentioned that I feel like most of the Snezhnaya characters are going to involve Stellar Reaction. I know in Notcry there are also a lot of characters that don't involve Lunar Reaction, but those characters are, you know, Varka, Durin, Nicole, and you know what their gimmick is? It's Hexerai, Witch, Homework, Synergy, so it's just another new set of gimmicks. And last but not least, people who should pull for Odette, I would say, are people who are actively playing Snezhnaya and probably plan on pulling on Snezhnaya characters. And now, who should not pull on Odette? I don't have any deep reason for this, but I can say if you don't plan on playing Stellar Reaction characters, then you don't have to pull for Odette. If you don't plan on actively playing Snezhnaya or pulling for Snezhnaya units, then you don't have to pull for Odette. And last but not least, if you don't plan on playing Genshin, then you can also not pull for Odette. And now for my personal opinion on Odette's character design. At first, I thought she was quite bland. I like her kit. Her kit is very simple, and you know, off-field skill bot is usually really good, not using ult. But I thought her character was just kind of boring. I think it's mainly because of the hair. It looks very normal compared to like most like Genshin Impact hair or most Genshin Impact outfit design. But after playing through some of the stories, some of the quests, I grew to kind of like Odette a bit. Not my favorite character, but definitely not a character I regret pulling for. So final verdict, I give Odette a score a 9 out of 10 for pulling satisfaction. Anyway guys, leave a comment down below. Are y'all playing Genshin or pulling for Odette right now? Let me know in the comments. Or if you're not pulling for Odette or not playing Genshin, you can let me know as well. And I'll see y'all in the next video.